It is another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the 6 films released on October 10th, 2008. Another weekend with a wide assortment of different movies. We have a lot to get to, so let's just go ahead and jump right on into it. Let's start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, the remake of Wreck, Quarantine. Well, I think you can obviously see the first problem with this movie is the fact that they pretty much spoiled the ending of the original Wreck in the trailers, and not just in the trailers, but also the poster as well. Basically, this was the money shot, and yeah, if they have to sell you on the final shot of the movie, maybe that's a sign that this is not going to turn out pretty well. But who knows? Maybe this could actually work out in their favor. But just like in the movie Wreck, it follows a reporter played by Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter and her cameraman assigned to a pair of Los Angeles firemen who follow a distress call to an apartment building where they discover a deadly mutated stream of rabies spreading across the building's occupants. Escape becomes impossible once the government descends upon the building to prevent the virus from spreading beyond it, and the pair continue to record the events that unfold inside, of which the film itself is the result. Now, this is directed by John Eric Dowdle, whose last movie was the Poughkeepsie Tapes, which was never released until 2017. We already looked at it earlier in the 2007 Leftovers episode. But this is also the same director who also gave us the majesty and awfulness that is Daredevil that came out from 2010 with M. Night Shyamalan writing that one. But basically what I'm trying to say here is that the Dowdles are not good filmmakers. But in the case of Quarantine, this one actually does kind of work. And yeah, I know they spoil the money shot in all the marketing, but the film does a pretty good job of keeping the same style, the same formula, and the same magic of the original Wreck without just redoing a remake of Wreck. It's not a shot-for-shot remake. It's something that's very much in the same vein, but doesn't feel like it's a straight-up copy of the other movie. Plus, there's a lot of good actors that make the material work here. Jennifer Carpenter, as I said before, Jay Hernandez, Columbus Short, Greg Gurman, Daniel Ramirez, Jonathan Sheck, and a lot of really good talent there. The tension is still very good overall. They do not use any music in this movie. It's only sound effects to make it. It really is a well-done movie in terms of letting the atmosphere and the tension be the reason why this movie gets you so hooked and want to see what happens next. And yeah, it does spoil the ending of the movie in the marketing, but in the end, the film itself is worth it. It's a remake. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations going into it. I really thought it was going to be terrible, but lo and behold, it did turn out to be a very enjoyable film. A film that I thought I would not like, considering that this director had been behind some really terrible horror movies, but he actually made a good one here. So, hey, there's always a first time for everything. A broken clock can be right every once in a while, and this is that time for John Eric Dowdle. So enjoy this until the next time he makes another movie, and we all hate it. That'll be in 2 years' time. But anyway, that's Quarantine for you. So let's go ahead and move on to our next film that we have here, which is Ridley Scott's latest film, reuniting him with Russell Crowe after American Gangster and co-starring Leonardo DiCaprio. It's Body of Lies. One of Ridley Scott's most underrated movies. You have Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe starring in the leading roles. It's set in the Middle East following the attempts of a CIA agent and a GID of Jordan to catch al-Salim, a terrorist, frustrated by their target's elusiveness. Differences in their approaches strain relationships between the CIA operative, his supervisor, and the head of Jordanian intelligence. But the cast also includes Mark Strong and also Oscar Isaac. The writer of this movie is the same man who also wrote The Departed, too. So there's a lot of good talent across the board here. And you got two heavyweight actors in Leonardo DiCaprio and Russell Crowe really working off each other and playing it very well. The performances are very good here. The visual style of the film is really cool. Ridley Scott, man, like, I criticize the guy for his later works, rightfully so, because his later films have not been that great. But you know, this was back when he was really taking chances and doing unique movies like this, Black Hawk Down, American Gangster, even his films that weren't working, like A Good Year, are at least films where it's just like, okay, it doesn't work, but I can see you're trying to do something very different overall. And it's very well done. The action sequences are nicely done. The tension between Crowe and DiCaprio is very well done. It's a really good film. It's a film that does not get the proper attention I think it deserves. It wasn't a big hit when it came out in theaters, but it's a film that I think has definitely gotten a lot better. It is definitely one of Ridley Scott's more underrated films, and one you should definitely check out. Body of Lies. It's one I highly recommend. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next movie we have here, and that is The Express, the Ernie Davis story. So the moral of the story here, kids, is that even in 1963, the Cleveland Browns just could not catch a goddamn break. Because, yeah, he was supposed to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns, but he never played a bit down for them because he passed away before his time came to go on to the National Football League stage. But this is based on the true story of Ernie Davis, a Syracuse University football player, the first African-American to win the Heisman Trophy, played by Rob Brown, and explores civil rights topics such as racism, discrimination, and athletics. And it also most notably features the film debut of Black Panther, Chadwick Boseman, starring as Floyd Little. And this is directed by Gary Fledler, who's directed a couple movies we've talked about on here. Runaway Jury, to be example. Don't Say a Word. This also features Dennis Quaid playing the head coach of the Syracuse football team, I think, Ben Schwartzwelder. You also have Amar Benson Miller from Miracle at St. Anna, Anjanae Ellis from King Arthur, Clancy Brown, of course, from SpongeBob, Saul Rubinek playing Art Modell, Charles S. Dutton, Nicole Beharie, and as I mentioned before, Boseman in here as well. And it's a film I really wasn't expecting a whole lot going from it. I mean, the story, I mean, this is a film that they were really pushing hard to be the next Friday Night Lights. I mean, I remember when the Steelers played the Browns on Sunday Night Football in 2008, they had a huge marketing push for this movie because they really thought they had something, and they were promoting it all across the game. But then again, it was also in Cleveland, too, so it made sense to have it in there. But this film did not do very well at the box office. It came and went. But unlike last week's Universal Flash of Genius, this one actually is pretty good. It's a story that is very fascinating. It has a really good leading performance by Rob Brown, who was also in Stomp the Yard and also in Coach Carter. And it works very well. You really do get the feeling that this guy is plays the role of Ernie Davis very well. And Dennis Quaid is really good playing the coach of the team, and they do a very good job of keeping you on the edge of your seat and wanting to know who this guy was and how he changed the course of the history of the NFL, of football in general, without really knowing about it. Because most people who see this movie are not going to remember that he was going to play for the Browns at some point in the National Football League. It's a really good movie. It's a film that I really was not expecting a whole lot from. It was a movie I overlooked for a long period of time because it's just like, okay, I've seen this story done before. We've seen this done in other sports movies before, and nothing's really going to change my thoughts on this in general. But lo and behold, they actually did make a pretty decent film overall. One that I was really surprised by. I actually did kind of enjoy it. It's not going to really do anything unique or different compared to other sports films, but it's still pretty fun all across the board. Still very well done, still greatly acted, and a very underrated film. One that I really did not see coming on here, so yeah, it's one you should definitely check out. The Express, the Ernie Davis story. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to the next one we have here, Gil Kennan's latest film, City of Ember. So here you have another one of these family adventure films that's trying to be the next Harry Potter, the next Lord of the Rings. And I can tell you, that commercial trailer for the DVD is much different than the trailer for the actual movie itself, because the trailer for the actual movie is more like an action-adventure film. This one makes it seem like it's a kiddie film. But on top of that, there's all these names on here. Not just Gil Kennan making his live-action directorial debut after Monster House, but this was written by Caroline Thompson, who gave us Edward Scissorhands and also The Nightmare Before Christmas. A cast that includes Saoirse Ronan from Atonement, the aforementioned Bill Murray, Mackenzie Crook, Martin Landau, Mary Kay Play, Toby Jones, Tim Robbins. This is produced by Tom Hanks through his production company, Walden Media, the company behind Journey to the Center of the Earth. I mean, there's a lot of things about this movie that should give it a fair advantage to actually be good, but it's that idea that the film has no idea what it wants to be. And, you know, compared to the other movies that Fox tried so hard to make the next Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, like Eragon and The Secret of the Darkest Rising, this may be the best of the bunch, but at the same time, it really isn't enough for me to say it's one you should definitely check out. It's a film that really is lost in what it's trying to accomplish. Like, what's the end game here? Like, what am I supposed to take away from it? They can't settle a tone. It feels like they're just doing this because, hey, we saw it with Harry Potter. We saw it with Lord of the Rings. Clearly, this is going to work. And no, you need a point to it. You know, like Steve Martin said in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Have a point. It makes things so much easier for the listener and the watcher in this case, too. But I don't know. It's one that I saw it, and I really didn't get much out of it. So that's City of Ember. Let's get back to some good movies now. How about Guy Ritchie's latest film, The Rock and Roller? Okay, rock and roller, but they call it the rock and roller, so that's why I said that. But Rock and Roller, Guy Ritchie's latest film, in which you have a London mob boss who puts the bite on all local real estate transactions for substantial fees. He's helping a Russian developer as a sign of good faith. The Russian developer and the mob boss loan is the Russian developer loans the mob boss a valuable painting promptly stolen off of his wall, and while his men, led by the dependable Archie, played by Gerard Butler, look for the canvas, three local petty criminals, the Wild Bunch, steal money from the Russian using inside information from his accountant, the lovely Stella, played by Tandy Newton. Meanwhile, a local drug-addled rocker, Johnny Quid, is reportedly drowned, and his connection to Cole is the key to unraveling the deceits and double crosses of life in the underworld. So essentially, it's another Smoking Aces, but from Guy Ritchie, and Guy Ritchie made a lot of really good movies like this. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch. He was also one of the guys, main producers behind Layer Cake. I mean, just a really good, fun movie, and a nice return to form for Ritchie, who had been kind of on a downward spiral in the early years for most of the decade. Swept Away with Madonna was a bust. Revolver was not as strong of a film. But this is a nice return to form for him, with a strong cast that includes Gerard Butler, Tom Wilkinson, Tandy Newton, Mark Strong, Idris Elba, Tom Hardy, Toby Kebbell, Jeremy Piven, Chris Bridges. A lot of people saw Tom Hardy for the first time in this movie, myself included. And it's a really, really good, fun movie. It's very much a film that you expect from the same guy that made Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. Very funny, very action-packed, very over-the-top, very silly, and just a very good time all across the board. It's a film that's worth it, and yeah, I really like this one a lot. Rock and Roller is a ton of fun. So with that said, let us move on to our last film, that is Sally Hawkins and Happy Go Lucky. This, of course, comes from Mike Leigh, who gave us Life is Sweet and Breaking the Waves. This is another great film of his. This is a film that introduced us to the world of Sally Hawkins, and of course, who would later go on to star in the Paddington movies and The Shape of Water. And she plays a cheerful and optimistic primary school teacher, with her relationships with those around her being the focal point of the film. And you also have characters played by Eddie Marsan from Sherlock Holmes, and it's another really good Mike Leigh film. If you've seen his works before, like Breaking the Waves and also Life is Sweet, as well as Vera Drake, Topsy Turvy, Career Girls, Naked, High Hopes. Very good movies for the most part overall, and the guy knows what he's doing. He makes these very sweet, sentimental, coming-of-age storylines with these adult characters that I think works very well. And Sally Hawkins proves to be quite the screen presence in this movie. For a lot of people, this is their first time seeing her in this movie, and it works really well. She's a very good actress. She's proven that in the years since then, and the film is very funny and charming. It's a very good movie, one you should definitely check out. Not much more to say about this one per se. A good, fun, little small film. Happy-go-lucky.